Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic, and I'm back with a very quick video for you today. I've actually spent the last couple of hours doing a lot of printing on my Cricut, because what I want to show you today is the comparison of different markers and pens you can use in your Cricut machine. Now, I've got the Cricut Maker, so I'm not sure if this applies to any of the other particular models. So I'm just sharing with you my experiences of these different pens, 6 different pens in the Cricut Maker. Now, of course, I can't go past the Cricut branded one. I got this free with my Cricut Maker when I purchased it. This is the 0.4 tips, it's the fine black one. And this other pen as well, the fabric Quill, is made for the Cricut and other electronic die cutting machines. So those are obviously made for the machines. Now, as far as I know, Cricut do not endorse or recommend the use of any other markers in your Cricut machine. So please bear that in mind. I wouldn't want anyone to invalidate their warranty. But I've got 4 others, and these are just pens from my stash. And I got this idea actually from a Facebook group that I'm on, where someone asked what types of pens could you use, and it never actually occurred to me at all. So I am trying this, and I never pronounced this right, Staedtler Tri-Plus Fine Liner, the FaberCastell. This is the Pitt Artist pen, so it's more of a brush than a pen. And then the Cricut Supertips. I've also got an Artline 200 pen, and this is also fine 0.4, so I thought that would be a good comparison with the Cricut fine ones. I'm not actually going to do a top 6 or recommend one over the other, but I am going to do them in order of most expensive to least expensive. So in terms of, I guess, ranking of these 6 pens today, it's a little bit unfair to, for example, compare the FaberCastell, which is a brush tip, against a fine liner and so on. So what I'm going to do is just rank them in order of the most expensive to the least expensive. Done a couple of different designs with each of these pens to show you. So let's start with the FaberCastell. Now this works out to be the most expensive at $4.37. All my prices are based on Australian dollar, and as you can see on the screen here, I've just done a quick Google search and I've worked out the cost per pen based on the cheapest one I could find. So that's based on a pack of 8 from Officeworks. Now what I decided to do for all of these designs is draw a mandala and also some script as well, so all using the draw function. Now it's a shame really, this is the most expensive pen, but I actually decided to quit the draw function on this because each of the mandalas did take about 15 minutes to draw, and this clearly was not going to work. And look at it, poor little thing. The end of it is just too thick. Can you see? Can you see also with me using it a little while, it's kind of bent out of shape as well. So probably not ideal to use in your Cricut Maker, or else it's going to ruin the tip of your pen. But it fitted in really nicely. I didn't have to push too far down. It seems to be a perfect fit. I really, really love the writing element of it. So this was just in a print, this was in a brush script, and I love the thickness of it. If you're looking for something quite bold in your writing, then I would recommend this. The price though, $4.37 each, unless you've got them in your stash like I have. Don't know whether I would particularly recommend you going out buying these for this purpose. But as you can see here, a really good result in terms of the transfer of the ink from the brush pen onto the card. I should say as well, I just did all of these on a medium cardstock. This is just some old paper that I've got that I decided to use up for the experiment. But yeah, not very good for fine detail work as expected, so no criticism on that behalf. So that is the most expensive pen at $4.37. Moving on to the second most expensive is the Cricut pen itself. Now, probably no surprise, this is the top end in terms of expense. This works out at $3.33 for each pen, and I do only have this one because it came with the machine. But you can actually see the results are actually amazing. The fine detail works well because it is 0.4 fine point, and the script writing as well came out really well. If money's not an option, absolutely go for these. The selection in the pack that you get, wide variety of colours, naturally fits in the machine like a dream. So if money's no object, I would absolutely go out and buy these. If you look for something a bit cheaper, I will move on to the next one that I tested, which was the Artline pen. Now not much cheaper actually, this came out at $3.15. And I thought this would be a good comparison because they are both 0.4 in terms of the tip of the pen. So you can see the detail on this I actually prefer over the Cricut. It just looks a bit more delicate. Considering it's the same thickness of pen, the two results you would not expect, right? It just looks a lot more delicate. Even the font as well, I prefer when you look at this compared to, just bring the Cricut back. So these are only two pens really I can compare light for light because they are both 0.4 tip. A lot darker obviously for the Cricut, but it depends what you're after. If you're after a more delicate look of this fine line, then I would absolutely go for this. Not sure what happened here. It did start drawing all the way across and then back this way. So maybe my ink was running out, I don't know, but it certainly wasn't an issue in terms of positioning it. It did need a bit of a push to go in, I have to say. Didn't slot in as easily as the other ones did. But it absolutely worked fine here. It was only when it was coming towards the end it seemed to slip a little bit. But a very close second in terms of price with the Cricut one, so I wouldn't be necessarily using these unless I did have them in my stash. And they don't do a huge range of colours as well, I would say, so again, something to consider depending on how you want to use your pens and your markers in your Cricut. So the fourth cheapest one, this is the Staedtler one, the Tri Plus Fine Liner, and I absolutely love these pens. These work out at $1.99, but I love this one for my journaling and writing. It's one of my favourites to use. And you can see, ignore the little circle in the middle, I wasn't quick enough to change my marker when it moved from one design to the next. But you can see, again, the intricate details on this really do pop with this particular fine liner. Now I did do some research, this is 0.3, so it is slightly finer than either the Cricut or the Artline. But even so, I still feel like this one came out looking a little bit more fine detail than that one. Maybe it's because it's in the black, not the red. I'm not sure, but if you've got these in your stash, absolutely use them. Don't be put off by the fact that they are in a tri shape. They fit really nicely into the Cricut holder. Didn't have any problems, didn't need to push it down too far, and it worked a dream. I love the thickness on some of this as well. It just seemed to glide a little bit better. It just seemed to work very nicely, and I do like the final result of this. So that comes in at number 4. So we've got 2 more cheap ones to go, and not quite the cheapest, but second from bottom is actually the fabric quill. Now, I actually did buy a set of these when I bought my fabric quill, so I already have them to hand. They do come in quite a big selection of colours, they come in a big pack, so these come to $1.33, so a big drop from the previous ones as well. Again, it's a little bit unfair to compare them with the fine ones, because as you can see it does have quite a thick tip to the end of it. Couldn't find any details online to find out what the actual thickness of it was. I wanted to point out as well, even though these are designed for the Cricut Maker, it really needed a good push. I really had to push. This was the start of the design. You can see it really wasn't working, and I had to really force it in for it to work. So bear that in mind if you're using yours for the first time as well. You do need to push it. I actually got to the point where I thought I'm going to break my machine at this rate, trying to push it in so much. Because it came out really thick, not the same level as detail as the other ones because it is a thicker nib at the end. But if you're looking for something that's going to do a nice bold font, then absolutely looks great if you want a nice bold outline to whatever it is you're drawing. So the last one that I want to cover off is the Cricut Supertips. Now, I also have to say, this one is also the cheapest, but it's also my favourite. So they actually come in at 43 cents per marker. This was the end result. Fitted in like a dream, didn't need to force it down. I love both the lettering style on this as well as the look on the mandala. Even though it was so intricate, you can see, comparing it to the fabric quill, it just came out a little bit better. Quickly grab those for you. They come in a huge variety of colours, so you know you've got plenty to choose from. The price as well, these are the only ones I would actually recommend you go out and buy, because you get so much in a pack, and they also do lots of different size packs as you saw on the screen. You can do packs of 10, 20, 30, 50, even 100. So I think if you've not got these in your stash already, these were probably the only ones I would recommend you buy above any of the others because they're a little bit more versatile. I like the boldness of it. I like the fact that it didn't lose too much of its detail. So if you're looking for a bolder, I would go for that. But if I'm looking for something fine, I would stick with my Staedtler. So if I see any more of these in the shops in colours I don't have, I'm going to build up my stash of these because I love the fine point, whether I'm writing with them myself or in the Cricut machine. I hope that's given you a little bit of an idea of maybe pens and markers you've got in your stash yourself. If you've tried any of these, I would love to hear your recommendations and love to hear from you if you've got any tips to share as well. So I hope you enjoyed that little review, and I will see you next week for another crafting video.